Derrick Henry has been frame-mogging the nerds for years. Literally, I think 7 years at this point. We've said he can't possibly keep getting away with it. I've given up. Mason. You go to my rankings on flockfantasy.com. I've got him ranked exactly at average draft position, I believe. Where do you have Derrick Henry ranked? I mean, I guess I can check. I bet you're almost the low man on flockfantasy.com on
I
Derrick Henry.
most likely am, and I need to correct the record here. Derrick Henry has not been crushing us every year. Okay, we've had a win or two. Go back.
We've had 2 wins. It's true. So there's been 2 conclusive wins for the Nerds. 2023, big win for the Nerds. 2021, absolutely crushes, but only plays 8 games in that season. And those were and frankly,
last season, if it wasn't for week 17, which obviously ended up being the week that everybody cares about, of course, but Derrick Henry was bad last year until week 17.
Running back 58, running back 25, 43, 29, 13, 9, 14, 22, turns it up 8, 5, 11, then 22, 29. Then, of course, week 16 against the Patriots, running back 9, and then week 17, the money week, running back 1 overall. You know what? I remember the last touchdown coming through against Green Bay, just being like, there's no way. They're not going to, no way is he scoring this next touchdown. Because that game was, if I remember correctly, it was on Friday, I think. Isn't that right? It was on Friday. It was an island game, Friday or Saturday. And just being like, well, I didn't have him on any of my finals teams. So Sunday's not going to be that fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in 2 separate small field finals, I was in a couple different of the flock tournament finals. I was in some puppy finals, but the small field stuff, I was in the finals for the big dog. I was in the finals for, I think, the Great Dane or something. And those were only 10-person finals, and only one person across the 2 tournaments had Derrick Henry. But as soon as the first half of football happened, I was like, okay, I got a 0% chance in this one. But through the first 16 weeks, he was the RB16 in points per game, and he was a 2nd-round pick.
Are you more or less into him in managed? Best ball is one thing. I honestly, I take him to kind of take my medicine in best ball. I'm comfortable with it here. But looking at I've started to look at the ESPN and the CBS and the Yahoo stuff. Dude, he's a 1st-round pick. There on ESPN, Derrick Henry is 18 spots ahead of Kenneth Walker, who I know you don't really like either, but the Henry redraft prices are crazy to me.
Yeah, I'll take Achane, to be honest. And I know that's a horrible take because how bad the Dolphins offense projects, but especially in a PPR redraft format, give me Achane. And hell, I may even rather have Chase Brown.
I mean, the deal with Achane is if the Dolphins had just run back what they had last year, let's just say everyone gets a pass, McDaniel doesn't get fired, they're running it back with Tua. I mean, he's a 1st-round pick. It's just everyone is convinced the Dolphins are going to be beyond bad, the worst thing we've ever seen, basically.
If it wasn't for if the offense was neutral, Achane would be the 103.
Yeah, he certainly is. I think his scoring outcomes, were he on a good team, are totally the same as Bijan and Gibbs.
Last year, the Dolphins averaged 20.4 points per game. This year, sportsbooks have them at 18.9. So they're supposed to score 1.5 points per game last year over year.
All right, we're on the 2-3 turn. We've got Gibbs. What do you generally do here?
I'm fine if you wanted to take Rice.
All right. I have actually been taking a little bit less Rice there. And then do you do Jeremiah Love? Do you do Breece? Do you like McBride?
I would take Love over Breece for sure.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing every draft I step into again is falling behind at wide receiver and not being able to catch up. Which I know that's the opposite take of everybody else this year for whatever reason. Everybody acts as if the running back's the only thing that matters because last season all the top guys hit and none of them got hurt. But I think very easily we could go back to what we saw 3, 4, 5, 2 even years ago, in which running backs bust at a higher rate than wide receivers in the early rounds. You have higher ceilings from the late round guys because, again, talent matters less at the position, right? You can just get manufactured touches. And I think you can end up having some late round hits at running back this season.
It's been true every single year of fantasy football. This was even true. They don't want you to know this, but it was even true in 2024, not true in 2025. But having 3 wide receivers through 6, this is Hayden Winks' article up on underdog.com. The math changed a little bit, that it used to be 4 through 7. Now it is 3 through 6. But I mean, you are hitting you are hitting a key point that I feel is definitely going under acknowledged at this point. Like, yes, there is more of a place in fantasy football now for guys like Kyron Williams or Javonte Williams, because, I mean, the older guys haven't been getting injured. Backfields are priced more efficiently. Like, back in my day, Byshell Tootin would have been a 10th round pick in this exact same circumstance, and Chris Rodriguez would have been a 4th round pick. But in my mind, after Burden goes at 21, I don't know if there's anyone I think who can finish as a top 12 wide receiver. I mean,
here's the thing. I used to get made fun of. I made videos back in 2022, 2023, when the wide receivers were significantly more expensive, saying that the dead zone at running back didn't exist, because that's all anybody would ever talk about in any videos or live streams. So the running backs in the middle rounds were the biggest values, because everybody and their mom was like, you can't take the guys here. Don't you know that's what idiots do? And that's what allowed me to win multiple tournaments. And now I think the dead zone's back, because
the dead zone is back.
Yeah, has anybody big time said that phrase to you all year long? Nobody. That's used to be every single person's talking point. Can I share my screen real quick? Because I did a ton of research into this for a really in-depth video. But I looked at all of the top running backs and wide receivers that were drafted, the top 36 guys with their ADP, the amount of games that they played, their fantasy football finish, the outcome of these guys, got all the averages for every year that we have Best Ball Mania data, right? So going back to 2021, so we have a pretty large sample here. I made an entire video breaking this down, but what you can see with this a couple different times is, one, the price of these running backs. Like we saw in 2024, the average ADP of a top 36 RB being picked 67. Now that's up to pick 44, right? So significantly more expensive, as opposed to where we've seen the wide receivers fall down dramatically in price. And I think that this is mainly fueled off of, if you look at the games played for these running backs, we have the historical numbers being like an average of around 14 games played for the top 12 drafted guys, 13 and a half games played for the top 24, and about, say, 13 and a half games played for the top 36. We have massive outliers over the past 2 seasons. Over the past 2 seasons, the running backs stayed healthier than the wide receivers, which we really don't have precedent for. And I mean, it makes sense. Running backs are going to touch the ball 200, 300 times more than the wide receivers through the season, like in comparison to where they're getting drafted. So the injury rates for the top drafted wide receivers over the past 2 years being higher than running backs seems like it's a massive outlier for me. And also, if we go through and look at the bust rates of the position, like if you were drafting a running back that was inside the top 12 of ADP in 2025, they had a 67% chance to finish as a top 10 back. And we go back to like 2021, 2022, 2023, that was anywhere from like 33% to 42%. So what's happened is, over the past 2 years, we have massive outliers with the top drafted running backs. They were the guys that hit. They stayed healthy in comparison to the wide receivers getting injured. And this has caused their price to be more expensive than we've ever seen. So I think a lot of like the running back centric stuff that people are going through right now is honestly short-sighted, and it's
reacting to the fact
what happened last year.
It's reactionary to what's happened the most recent 2 years. It's reactionary to the fact that wide receivers have actually gotten injured and running backs have not. For most of fantasy football, it's been wide receivers generally stay healthy. They get tackled less often. Running backs generally get injured much more often. Running backs generally, there'll be more ambiguous situations. We actually have multiple ambiguous situations this year, right? We have the Commanders. We have the Packers running back too, with Jacobs, potentially being a legal thing. Yeah. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars backfield being relatively ambiguous, like
Minnesota Vikings, both guys.
The Minnesota Vikings.
100.
Yeah, there are loads of spots like this. I took the 2 highest guys by your rankings at our last
Perfect.
pick,
Can we
Jaylen
get
Waddle.
Mekhi Lemon here?
Yes, we can get Mekhi Lemon. We can't get any of our quarterbacks.
I'm fine if you want to take a running back. Any running back you want here?
I have Warren slightly higher, and I actually do like Warren, and we should be able to get at least Bo Nix at the next turn, potentially. I mean, Mahomes, I guess, never makes it to 96 anymore. That was a small fledgling period where we were able to get the elite quarterbacks that late. I think by the time the Mason night streams are getting 2,000 concurrents, I think Mahomes is probably going to end up being. My guess is he's going to end up in that 6th round morass with Daniels, Hurts, May, and Caleb Williams.
So he's good to go week 1.
Right now on all the sports books and the prediction markets and stuff, he's like the equivalent of like minus 1,000 to start week 1. And then Andy Reid said yesterday or 2 days ago that he is cleared for 11 on 11 when they come back for real training camp. They're done with organized team activities. But yeah, I mean, look, anything is possible. Maybe they do sit him out a week or two because they just want to that's why they signed Justin Fields. But I would doubt it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I've pivoted where I was scared to draft Rice, like the initial jail stint, when we had like no clarity whatsoever of like what his rehab situation was and what his situation in county jail was. Because whenever I had looked it up and talking to people on my live stream, they're like, county jail, there's no like Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, like, hey, you're getting the special treatment, you're playing tennis, but once we got the report like halfway through his stint that they were allowing somebody to go into the facility and like help him with rehab.
No, you know what? It's even more cushy than that, Mason. They let him leave every day.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I thought that they were letting somebody come in and help him rehab.
So I believe that was what happened at first, but by the final 2 weeks, he was getting to leave and go to Parkland Memorial Hospital every day for PT on his knee because, he's a professional athlete and
so now I'm more willing to pull him up there to the 2-3 turn than I was.
Yeah. It's obviously maybe slightly worse in Best Ball Mania because you are going to have some people who are able, like someone, whenever we get data sets up, someone's going to have them at 42 or whatever,
What percentage of drafts do you think that accounts for? Because what percentage of drafts were in that?
0.003% are going to have a significantly better price. All right. So we missed out on all of our other quarterbacks. I think we do.
Well, if you're scared, the one time I am scared of getting boxed out of quarterback run is when we're here at the turn. Like if you're at pick 1, pick 2, pick 12. I was going to say go Purdy and Ricky Pearsall, but now that that's gone, I would here pivot to Downs-Worthy or take Laporta and see if we get Goff on the way back. I don't know if I'm pulling up Bo Nix this far, but if you want to, I'm not going to argue.
All right. Well, you know what? I never really draft like this where I totally let the quarterback window go by me. So let's do, we have Gibbs, Love, Warren, Rice, Waddle, Jamo, Lemon, Downs, and Worthy. So we at least got Daniel Jones to fall back on. Definitely, if you look at the tool, I mean, this is definitely going to end up being a 3 quarterback team, almost a 2% split there. Nice part of the game tree with running back. And then I do actually find this quite often when you do not have a round 1 or like round 2, like elite wide receiver, that you never are getting that friendly of historical advance rates.
No. Yeah. And like historically, again, it goes back to like, if you remove the recency bias that we have from what happened this past season, historically wide receivers in the lower rounds have been better because you've had late round running back hits. The last year it didn't happen, right? I mean, who was the best? Do we have an example of 2 or 3 late round running back hits from last season?
So we had Bucky Irving in 2024.
Like Travis Etienne was late last year. But I mean, it wasn't even like he was
round 6, round 7. something
Yeah.
like
I
that.
mean, it wasn't even like he was a double-digit round pick. Like, all the top running backs staying healthy last season.
Dowdle was strong, but bad in the postseason. Oh, you know what? Javante.
Yeah,
Javante
Javante.
was the big hit. And guess what? Because I'm a loser and I hate old guys, even though he's not even old. I had like 4% of Javante. Very, very painful.
But like, so we have one solid example, So last year was obviously extremely different, but I think we have such a large sample in the NFL of running backs getting injured at a higher clip, running backs busting at a higher clip, late round guys really
Not
coming through
only
strong.
that, look at all these guys who go in the first round. Christian McCaffrey is 29. Jonathan Taylor has missed an average of 4 games per season over the course of his career. Saquon Barkley is 29. Derrick Henry is 32. It's just
Like,
these guys are on the precipice.
I am underweight other than Bijan Gibbs. I think Bijan and Gibbs have to be 101, 102.
Yeah.
But let me pull up my best ball portfolio real quick. I think Achane I am solid with, but Achane and Chase Brown are around 2 guys that I take a lot. Amari and Hampton, I'm in line with the market for, but I'm underweight Derrick Henry. I'm underweight CMC, underweight Jonathan Taylor, underweight James Cook, and way underweight Saquon Barkley.
He didn't even say underweight Ken Walker because
I am underweight Kenneth Walker too. Let me pull that up. Kenneth Walker met 3.4%.
So, what's funny is in that range, I'm underweight all those guys too, but for very different reasons than you. I'm underweight on all those guys because I have 21% of Kenneth Walker. So I only have like 4% of all of the other guys because I have Walker ranked at the turn in my stuff. All right, let's see. Are we going to get lucky? We did not get lucky at quarterback. We got the opposite of lucky here. So I think I always take Malik Willis in this spot.
Yeah, let's pull him up.
Yeah, I think Malik Willis is perfect for this type of build. Now, do you want to drag up another one of these guys?
No, we're not. We're definitely not dragging up another QB.
All right. I like JCM a lot, or one of these tight ends.
I would take Concepcion, but if you want JCM, take him.
Yeah, we're gonna take JCM. I actually just did a video this morning that's coming out right after this about like if zero running back works out, like, and we're looking back on the season, who are going to be the most obvious guys? And I mean, other than to say the obvious, like, handcuff guys, like, Jonathan Taylor got hurt, you had to have Giddens. I think that the 2 situations that make it super possible are Tyrone Tracy, who just is like every week you're going to do your projections, you're going to do your rankings. He's going to be ranked as the running back 30. He's going to catch like 3 passes. He's going to just kind of grind out like 8 points a ton of the time. And then the other one is the Commanders' backfield, where you've got Rachaad White is going to play that Eckler role, and either Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or Katron Allen is going to win the early down role. But they're not going to play Rachaad White 70% of the snaps. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going with too many traditional like 0 RB teams where I'm not taking a running back until round 6 or round 7.
Yeah, me either.
But I am very often taking, like, I did a $500 draft the other day where I took Devon Achane as my anchor, and my next drafted running back was like Aaron Jones, and every single person in the comment section was like, "Oh, this team has no shot, no running back 2."
Yeah,
like that's a build that I'm a lot more comfortable with. Like taking your shot on, like, if you like Kenneth Walker, of course, in round 2, going with Kenneth Walker, and then going with like a 6 RB build where your running back 2 you draft is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in round 11. Yeah. And then you take your stab on 5 late round guys and see if you can hit on 2 or 3 of them.
I mean, JCM, I think, can be very efficient on the ground. I mean, this is one of the things, I mean, you'll definitely know this, that all of the research is guys like running backs who play with running quarterbacks get a huge efficiency bump. Like it's like 0.5 yards per carry. I mean, we actually saw this with Jayden Daniels each of the most recent 2 seasons. Some very not good running backs churned up a bunch of yards and points with Jayden Daniels there. And I mean, I watched a lot of Katron Allen at Penn State. I do not think he's particularly special. Rachaad White has the same contract that Emmanuel Wilson signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Like, I don't think they view him as this super important part of their team. Like, I've been making this joke that if you live in a no state income tax state, you're going to make more money this upcoming year if you win Best Ball Mania than Rachaad White, because he signed a $2 million contract in Washington, D.C.
Well, that's what I've been saying. Like, I would want to be all in on Rachaad White if it wasn't for the contract. But the contract's the only reason where I'm
if
like...
they gave him Algier money, 2 years, $10 million for some incentives, 100%.
Or even like if they gave him the Kenneth Gainwell contract.
Yeah. Oh, the Gainwell contract for sure.
We have to take Daniel Jones here.
Got to take Dimes.
Can you sort by ADP? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Sorted by ADP.
I'm fine to take Keaton Mitchell if you want him as our 5th RB.
Would you rather do that or one of these tight ends?
I'll take Gadsden if you want.
I like Gadsden.
I am never a big mistake that I think I've made in the past is like being afraid to fall behind at tight end, not realizing like, hey, you can draft tight ends around 16, 17, 18, hit on 2 of them that are just going to give you 10 points a week. And like, you don't necessarily need the 25-point spike from the tight end position to win a tournament.
I just love late round tight ends this year. Like there are a bunch of these guys. Like, honestly, I mean, we took Gadsden and I like Gadsden, but like you've got Juwan Johnson, who has a good role. Greg Dulcich is like a huge ADP steamer. Freiermuth, Ferguson. I mean, even like AJ Barner. I mean, I don't know if I really believe this, but he could, like, he ran 6 tush pushes last year. Like, does AJ Barner find 4 touchdowns that no other tight end finds? Like, maybe. I don't know. There are plenty of guys I can sell myself on.
With the tight end position, I think one thing that's super interesting, and I know I've asked you this in the past, is like the elite tight ends, obviously, like if hypothetically, like if you're saying you're looking at your historical advance rates based on team you draft, if you take Bowers or McBride in round 2 or 3, the elite tight ends have busted more times than they've like hit for like a league winning season in that range.
Yes.
So like hurts your grades and stuff. I haven't cared. I'm still taking Bowers and McBride in rounds 2 and 3. Is that how you're approaching it too?
Totally agree. I just accept that when I do one of those teams, like I take Bowers or I take McBride, that at best I'm going to get like a B+, you know, because that's just, I mean, the sample sizes are so small of the elite tight ends that the like, I believe in the BBM data set, there's 1 Gronk season and then like 3 Kelsey seasons. And then also the Bauer season from last year, that was like, if I remember correctly, like an 8% advance rate because he was so expensive and was hurt.
And there's one other thing let me know what you think of this thought process. Cause every time I see somebody take Bowers and then like Loveland in round 4 or like McBride and then Loveland in round 4, I don't agree with the argument that people will make that like, oh, it's okay to take Bowers and reach on Loveland ahead of ADP because Loveland can outscore the wide receivers in round 4 like Luther Burden. Because my thought process with that is if you're taking Burden there and you assume that Bowers hits, right? Effectively, you take Loveland. Loveland can only slide into 1 slot inside your starting lineup, as opposed to you take Burden. Burden can fill 1 of 4 holes in that case, you know?
I have taken Bowers and Loveland together for sure, but only when it's a spot where they're honestly probably they're both after ADP. Like probably I got Bowers back in this left corner and then also got Loveland in maybe like round 5 or something like that. Super narrow part of the tree, but I do think it makes some sense. All right.
We have to pull up Rodgers.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with that. And then do you want to take any of these wide receivers or do you want to take one of these? We should take Dulcich. Malik Willis.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah. That's called buying. It's called buying the top, Mason. If you don't get it at a cheap price, you just keep buying. Although the drumbeat has been consistent enough on Dulcich that I actually probably expect his rise to be similar to like what has happened with Chig this offseason, where he starts out cheap and then just incrementally gets expensive throughout the entire course of the drafting season.
Where's your updated take on Aiyuk? Do you think it's any more likely or less likely that he's a commander in comparison to where we were 2 weeks ago?
I think it's more likely that he's a commander. I mean, I never thought he was going to play for anyone else. The reason why I am more into it now is we've started to get some official 49ers mouthpieces. I believe his name is Mike Lombardi. But there's been a couple guys who are close to the team who've been like, yeah, they're just going to cut him. And the big barrier for Aiyuk getting to the Commanders this whole time has been that the 49ers are going to be hardos about getting trade compensation, which at this point, I don't think they're going to get. I just don't think anyone will do it.
At what point do they have to cut him so they don't have to pay him?
They don't have to, because he is technically in violation of his contract by not reporting. There hasn't been anything mandatory that he has to show up to yet. It's only been voluntary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't show up to mandatory training camp, they can just say, we're not paying you. You don't count against the cap. We don't have to pay you. You're not honoring your contract, which is what they're hoping, because what nightmare scenario for the 49ers is Aiyuk shows up healthy, good, passes a physical, is ready to go, and but is just making everyone miserable. No one wants him there. So that's what they're hoping.
Oh, that would suck. Because my take on Aiyuk at the moment is, let me draft him as much as I can in round 17 and 18. Or like I'm even taking him in 16. Because the second that he were to be a Commander, he's a 10th round pick, 11th round pick.
Yeah, I think he will certainly rise. I think he probably ends up in the range of like Omar Cooper Jr. to Jalen Coker, somewhere in there. Because there will be enough people that are like, hey, man, the last time we saw Brandon Aiyuk, he wasn't even any good. I mean, he was bad for the 49ers before he hurt his knee.
Would you rather have Aiyuk or Jaden Higgins?
I would rather have Aiyuk for the Commanders, for sure. No doubt. I'll just be curious to see what the market does. 3 tight end is a big
Yeah, I mean, we
jump
have
for
to
us
take it
here.
for tight end, and
advance rate
is the obvious pick with Riders if we get him.
Freiermuth is super obvious. You know what? I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but the tool has our highest projected advance rate with 4 running backs.
Well, look at 8
maybe
wide
don't remember
receivers
that.
and just look at the underlying math behind it. Yeah, so I would disagree here. I would go 5 running backs and 7 receivers. Like I look at the math of it way more than I look at the recommendation at the bottom.
Yes, yeah, I'm with you there. Do you have a favorite of this group of? Wow, sniped on Freiermuth.
We could take Darnell Washington around 18. I wouldn't like to do that. Is there any? Can you go to running back and receiver?
Yes.
I'd be down to take Emmett Johnson here.
All right. Emmett Johnson. Can I sell you on Terrence Ferguson here as our 3rd tight end?
If you want him, yeah, take him.
Do we have a Steeler? Oh, yeah, we have Jaylen Warren. So I am, for a little while, I was stopping taking Terrence Ferguson as my 3rd tight end all the time. I read the most bullish thing imaginable about him last week, and I just can't stop. This is from The Athletic talking about what the Rams did with their wide receiver room this offseason, because it's a little bit strange to not add a wide receiver when one of your wide receivers is 33 and injured his hamstring. And I believe this was Jordan Rodriguez. It might not have been, but they were basically like, oh, well, the team just thinks Terrence Ferguson is a wide receiver. So Ferguson is just going to eat up Tutu Atwell snaps. Obviously, he can do the inline stuff, and then would obviously be in line for more work if Davante Adams were injured. And I was like, okay, well, this dude's the wide receiver 3 for the Rams at pick 195 at tight end. I'm probably just going to have, I might end up with 30% of this dude in the end.
Well, that'd be incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we've drafted Jordan Whittington in the past. I think we could take Terrence Ferguson.
You know what's funny with the Whittington thing is if Whittington had been on any other team that wasn't the Puka Nacua team, he would have never been drafted. But because it was literally the round 18 Puka team, people were like, oh, yeah, got to take Jordan Whittington.
Obviously, I went to UT at the time. Jordan Whittington did. And he was like 17 years old in high school. Like he's supposed to be in high school. In my spring semester, he walked into one of my classes. Like he was somehow on campus early and taking classes at like 17. And then I walked by him during COVID. I would go to like a little field called Clark Field on campus. And for all the gyms were closed, I would just do pull-ups at the park. And I walked by him, and the dude did not look like a wide receiver. He looked like a middle linebacker. I was like, this guy is freaking massive.
He's got those big traps and stuff for a wide receiver. Yeah, good for him. Oh, you would have been there at the same time as Xavier Worthy for at least a little while, right? His freshman season should have been your last year there, I think.
Let me see. I believe you're right. I didn't go to any of the games my senior year because that's when I started live streaming every day. Yeah, I was there with Worthy same time.
Wow.
And that was when Worthy was really good, right? Because Worthy broke out immediately at 18.
He broke out as a true freshman in the SEC. I mean, people forget. They forget because he played with the torn labrum last year, but whatever.
But to be fair, he never got any better during his time at Texas.
No, in fact, you could argue he got worse.
Yeah. Do you want to take Chris Bell? Because the only way this team's any good is if Malik Willis somehow starts all year.
Do you take any of these other guys ever? Because Chris Bell is probably not going to play until November.
You want to take Caleb Douglas?
Yes, I do. I think Caleb Douglas or Kevin Coleman or Tutu Atwell or any of these guys are honestly, they're probably better picks. I think Chris Bell is, and I'm sure you've seen this before, but people just get anchored to whatever the ADP is. Like you're talking about a guy who might just like straight up redshirt his rookie year in the NFL.
Well, I think our team sucks, but I think it's because we whiffed on Bo Nix. If we would have got Bo Nix falling one more pick, then I think this team would have been great.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are rough. Malik Willis, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers. We're gonna need old man Aaron Rodgers to do some heavy lifting. Or you know what though? The Malik Willis stuff, so many bad quarterbacks have been pumped up by the fantasy football community. Richardson, Lance, Fields.
Hey. We don't know if Lance was any bad. I mean,
we don't know what? We still don't know. I believe so. I sent this out as a tweet.
Okay. Let me bet on the record. I'm joking. Obviously, he's horrible, but
I'm being serious. Serious. We don't know, because if you go all the way back to this dude's college career, preseason, NFL, he doesn't have 1,000 dropbacks of college of football above high school. Yeah. We really don't know. Mason.
The only way this team has any chance at all of doing anything in Best Ball Mania is if Malik Willis is 2022 Justin Fields. He averages 76 rushing yards a game and 149 passing yards.
Or Daniel Jones's Achilles is just fully healed. Which I would say I'm probably on the lighter side of the market on that. But there's some best ball site, like some like rankings that are really high on Daniel Jones.
What's our wide receiver core? Because obviously we have a ton of running back points.
This to me is actually a great, I think this is a really good wide receiver room. Rashid Rice, Jaylen Waddle, J-Mo, Mekhi Lemon, Josh Downs, Xavier Worthy, and then just like a pure dart in Caleb Douglas.
Yeah. So, this team is banking on Kenneth Walker goes down, has to skew super pass happy, and we get the bump with Emmett Johnson.
Hey, I think we take that. I think you offer me that deal.
It'd be good. Good for my bags this year. I don't know if it'd be great for.
I probably need to start drafting more Emmett Johnson just as a total bag protector. Do you want to do one more? Or do you got to run?
I don't have anything to do, my guy.
All right, we're gonna ship another one. You know what's funny? I've a couple times gone into a draft and being like, you know what? I'm just gonna do whatever the overlay says just to get an A+. It's very, very, or an S tier. It's very, very hard to do when you draft from the turn. I have noticed that because you got to make weird decisions on the turn.
Yeah, like if you're on the turn, if you're at 1 or 12, a lot of your picks, you have to be, especially in the early rounds, you have to decide one of two things. One, am I going to reach on a player to be unique? Or am I going to click the chalk at the top of ADP and have the quote unquote most valued team, but at the same time be duped a lot, right? Where if you're taking James Cook and Barkley together at the turn, right? That may be on paper a better start according to if you think that the market's efficient with the ADP values, but that start's also going to be way more prevalent than James Cook, Drake London, So if you're at the turn, you're either going to have a team that's not completely duped. Obviously, no team's ever completely duped, but has a lot of overlapping combos, right? Like the team we just drafted with Jahmyr Gibbs, Jeremiah Love. There are a lot of Gibbs Love teams. Or you have to force your hand and reach on a player that is going at the 2-3 turn there at pick 13, or reach on a player that's going at the 4-5 turn at pick 25 and have maybe a more unique start in comparison to the rest of the field.
Which I would say I probably care of like the three components. I care about uniqueness the least. Like I think so much of that comes out in the wash. Do you ever not take Puka at 4?
No, the top 5 picks I take in line with ADP because I think that they're the top 5 guys and I want as much of them as possible.
Yeah. The only guy at this point that I am not taking in line every time is Jefferson. And I'm honestly probably such a coward that by the end, I'll probably just have 8% of everyone other than Jefferson, just because it's hard to undo that.
I mean, I'm starting to like at pick 6 is where I start to call my shots and I start to be overweight one guy, underweight the other. But first 5, like Bijan, Gibbs, Chase, Puka, JSN, I'm going to be exactly what the ADP is,
Yes. If I only had to live with the consequences of winning and losing money, and I didn't have to get online and talk about my best ball teams every day, I would probably just have 0% of Taylor, I think.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to like talk about my advance rate, I think I just wouldn't draft Jonathan Taylor at all. He feels the most out of place in the first round.
I don't know if I showed you this. It may not be the most interesting thing to see with like the round 1 guys, but go to the rankings section on the overlay. And then scroll down just a bit. Look at like click on like the info chart of somebody who's moved a lot with AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
There's a new section that the devs put out. That's my picks. You can click this and you can see exactly where like the ADP trend has been, where you've been taking him, your exposure versus the field, your average pick versus the current ADP. So like whenever I look at my stuff, I was drafting a ton of Travis Hunter when drafts open, right? So like if you look at the calendar picks, it's super backloaded to late April, early May. And now that his cost is significantly higher, like I don't have as many picks as of late. But yeah, so you can see like all your like where you're taking them, how often you've been taking them, your average pick that you've taken them at, the highest you've reached, the best value that you've gotten.
It's really funny because you can tell every day I've streamed, because just any day that I've done a stream, I've taken Travis Hunter. You could tell it's every Monday, every Thursday. There's a Travis Hunter screen. That's very cool. That's a cool feature.
Yeah, I need to be better about like communicating when the devs push.
I was gonna say I just update every day when I get to my computer. I just update it, and more often than not, there is something new that's in there.
Go to the combos and throw Puka in, because this is something that I generally do at the beginning of drafts. So like we can see here with Puka teams, they take Henry like 10% of the time. Can you pull this down? Bowers 16%. So it looks like we're not getting any crazy big falls, but Henry would have been the most unique. But I would just, if all the exposures are flat like this, anywhere from like 16% to 12%, I just take my highest ranked player, which would be Bowers.
Yep. And there we go. Now maybe we can try. Maybe we'll do a little bit of the old modified zero running back here.
Yeah, like going back to like my overall like complaints about where the running backs are getting drafted this year. A good example of this is Breece Hall going at 23.
I like Breece, but even for me, it's a bit much. Like that's ahead of where I have Breece ranked.
Like it would be tough for me to take Breece over like Nico Collins as an example.
I've not done that yet, but I do take Breece. So with Chase and Puka specifically, when I have this start, the Chase Puka, then with Bowers, and you don't get Henry, you don't get Chase Brown. Sometimes I will take Breece, although The running backs available at the 4-5, I also quite like. So it's not
Yeah.
nearly
I think the running backs at the
as
4-5
important.
are similar to the guys here. I'm never taking McBride on the Bowers team.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm cool taking either Devonta Smith or Rashid Rice. Up to you.
Let's take Davante. We did Rashid last time.
But
You know,
let me
gotta
ask
bury
you a
yourself up.
hypothetical scenario here, because you play a lot more DFS than I do, and with tournaments and obviously getting like leverage over the field with ownership matters. Can you go to the combo section? And I just want to like go through a hypothetical scenario with you.
Okay.
Throw Brock Bowers and Puka Nacua in here together. So let's go through the hypothetical scenario in which 1.3% of the field is expected to have this combo. Then look at a unique combo at the end of this draft, which is James Cook, George Pickens. So get rid of Bowers, Puka, and throw James Cook, George Pickens. This may be less than, I would imagine, less than 0.1%.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, it's going to be sub. Yeah.
Okay, so 0.1%. Hypothetically, how much worse of a start are you willing to have in comparison to your rankings and projections to have like 13 times the leverage over the other teams with like unique combos? You know,
so like the primary argument against that for best ball versus DFS is that by and large, the unique combinations will end up taking care of themselves via weirdness happening in the rest of the draft. So like the combo that might feel really unique in Cook and Pickens might not be. Maybe Pickens bangs his knee in training camp or something. That's one argument against it.
Which I completely agree, and which is why I would never look at this in the middle rounds, right? I'm never looking at like, oh, how many teams got Bo Nix and Dak Prescott together? Because the deltas with the ADPs are so wide there. I would almost exclusively only look at it through the first like 3-ish rounds, where the ADP deltas are very tight for the players that have stayed there through the majority of the contest, like George Pickens, who exclusively goes to 2-3 turn, and James Cook, who exclusively goes to the 1-2 turn. So I agree with that sentiment. Like ADPs are going to change. Even though it's something's maybe unique right now, it doesn't guarantee it's going to be the way through all the contest open, especially like every draft varies so much in the middle to late rounds. But I think in like that example, it may matter, you know, like specifically your first 2 picks with guys going very much range bound at the turns draft boards.
So what has generally been true in DFS is that people have largely overreacted to differences in ownership, and that the most important thing is projected points. That, in fact, it's been relatively big in DFS. It's kind of been something that has really taken over the activity, like the most recent 2 seasons, is people are just playing very, very non-unique lineups, just like really chalky lineups, and they're still simming out as positive EV because there's no replacement for points, basically, is kind of the long and short of it.
We have to take Scat here, right?
Gotta take Skattebo here. Yeah, it's really
so
it's
like
really nice.
But here's like another example of how I'm looking at it. So hypothetically, say you draft Puka Nacua here at 4, right? And in this hypothetical world, I have Chase Brown ranked ahead of Saquon Barkley, which is true. But if we pull up this tool and we go, hey, Puka Nacua teams draft Chase Brown 10% of the time, and Saquon Barkley never makes it there. They draft Saquon Barkley 0.3% of the time. I am completely ignoring my rankings at that point and taking Saquon Barkley instead. So you would disagree with that?
I wouldn't disagree with it. I actually would say in that spot where the guys are that close, it's probably fine either way. And really, when the projections are that close, it actually becomes more of a risk tolerance thing than an EV thing. The EV between choosing Chase Brown or Saquon Barkley is probably negligible.
Yeah.
But it is relatively high in terms of how much what do you want to do here?
My ranking would have Swift as the highest guy, but at running back, which I'm fine taking RB here.
Yeah, I'm light on Swift, so I'd like to get more. The EV of, even Pickens going at 16 now. That's an example right there. Pickens going at 16, where it's unique, but it ends up not being quite as unique as you think. And that's another thing that the Sims have kind of learned, is that your EV, your expected value of a given team or of a given lineup, changes more based on small shifts in ownership that is just really hard to get right. So that's kind of why I end up being such an ADP respecter, because my risk tolerance has decreased as I have aged, particularly up top.
Yeah.
In later rounds, I'm happy to let it loose. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that is interesting because I will for sure, like, if a player falls to a certain point, I will go like, hey, nobody else is drafting this team out of the start. Nobody has Chase and Derrick Henry together. I'm taking Derrick Henry no matter where I am. Right.
No, so that is the completely correct way to do it.
Yeah.
Getting the unique combo and the ADP value, because what everyone who's studied Best Ball Mania has found, that this is true in our tool, it's true in every tool, which is that the best teams are the teams that get real time and closing line ADP value. Like, not really a better way to get a good team than to just get 10 spots of ADP value on a good player.
For sure.
Yeah.
But how many drafts are we going to see Parker Washington go ahead of Brian Thomas?
Dude, I'm a Brian Thomas Jr. guy. I've got him ranked ahead, but I'm starting to fall for the Parker Washington propaganda, Mason.
I will stand strong. There's a 0% chance I take this dude over Jordan Tyson, Brian Thomas. No way in hell.
I think he's basically the most obvious like fantasy bust of all time. Like remember the year Gabe Davis was going in round 4 after the Chiefs playoff game?
I remember.
Yeah. I think he is going to bust that hard, but these beat writers will not stop talking about him. It's insane. They just keep talking like this dude is Randy Moss.
I'm pretty sure Jalen Hurts is the auto pick for us.
Yeah, it has to be. Anytime you have Davante.
I've noticed lately, with the overlay, I guess the ADP hasn't officially changed. Oh, Hurts is not.
Marv, Caleb with Swift, Lemon.
Up to you. I don't have a preference. I've noticed Marv. Let's take Marv because we have Bowers.
Yep.
But I have noticed that he's been falling around 7 in drafts now, which I had never seen a month ago.
Yes. No more AJ Brown. Gotta drop Jalen Hurts, whose like whole deal is rushing touchdowns anyway.
I'm sorry. Hurts is falling around 7 a lot too, but I'm saying Marvin Harrison. I've noticed falling.
I've not noticed Marv falling as much. I have noticed Hurts falling. I mean, Marv is to me is like the classic 8% guy because I don't really believe in him, but the upside is so obvious that like, dude, if Michael Wilson can score 20 fantasy points per game, then I'm pretty sure Marvin Harrison can too.
I'm fine taking whoever you want here.
This is like, these are like my least favorite picks. We don't have an obvious quarterback pick. You know what? Let's take Big Q. I never take Big Q. That'll be good to have a Mason QJ team.
It's much tougher to take him now in comparison when contest opened and he was past pick 100. Because like the most common question I was getting whenever I started streaming every day again this year was like, who's this year's Quentin Johnston? And my most drafted player at the time through the first like 2 weeks was Quentin Johnston. But now that he has risen to where he's around 7 pick, like I don't think he's overvalued, but I think this is where he should go. You know, where last year we were able to get him around 16. Obviously, I knew that wasn't going to be the case again. But I was surprised when he was going after pick 100 when contest opened. And I thought I was going to be able to run it back with him being my most drafted guy, but now it's a lot tougher.
Who's your most drafted guy right now?
Let me pull this up.
Xavier Worthy.
No, I think I'm honestly getting scared off Worthy. Tetairoa McMillan. I know the week 17 matchup's brutal, but I think he can be Drake London, essentially. I think prospect profile comps out similar. His rookie season comps out similar. The offense sucks. Week 17 matchup sucks, but I don't believe in Jalen Coker. I think Tet can get a 30% target share.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me to get too ahead of him because again, I just take Burden all the time there. But yeah, why are you getting scared off of Worthy just because he's getting expensive now?
That and also like with Xavier Worthy, I was heavy in on him last year. And just taking a step backwards and like reevaluating his rookie season for what it was, I think I was maybe a little blinded by a couple things. One, maybe my UT bias. But at the end of the day, his rookie season, he had 1.32 yards per route run and a 17% target share. And neither showed signs of improving last year. I know last year he had the injury excuse, but I don't know. Back-to-back seasons at 1.32 and then 1.35 yards per route run in the Kansas City Chiefs offense isn't great.
It's not great. I mean, I tell you what, he's pretty lucky he tore his labrum last year because it's real easy. It's real easy to create an excuse for him based off of that. Had he not torn his labrum and had that season, I think we'd feel a lot differently about him. All right. We are up. We have Dart as a potential here. Stafford as a potential here.
If we're worried about getting boxed out a quarterback again, like we did in the last draft, I mean, we can take Purdy. You can see we have the playoff matchups here, and then we can also get Pearsall or Kittle later.
And Stribling. Yeah. Don't forget the 33rd overall pick in the NFL draft who's going in round 15.
Which maybe we should have just clicked the top of my rankings with Godwin, especially knowing that the team after us already has Lamar and May. So assumption would be they're not taking a third QB, but I don't know.
Can't be. You can never be too sure out here. People are clicking quarterbacks left, right, and center. I mean, and this guy at 8-9 might take 2. In fact, he's probably steaming. He probably would have liked to have gotten Brock Purdy here. Are you taking Kittle a lot now?
I'm taking him more often than I was, based on you and the FSE guys telling me that the Achilles tear isn't as scary as my initial thought was.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like Kittle is going to be back, which seems kind of crazy.
I'm fine taking Worthy here if you want him.
Do we want to take Worthy or do we want to take Stafford?
Up to you.
We're gonna take Stafford.
Okay.
That combo is just for this specific game. Are there any two players who are more correlated in fantasy football than Stafford and Puka? It might be literally the number one correlation.
Do you want to guess what Stafford finished as points per game wise in 2024?
It was horrible. I think it was quarterback 13.
Quarterback 26.
Yeah. It's insane. I mean, the year that Cup won Offensive Player of the Year, I believe Stafford did not finish as a top 10 quarterback. I forgot the exact stat, but I believe it was that he literally did not finish as a top 10 quarterback when his guy finished. Yeah.
I have Kyler ranked ahead of Stafford. Like I'm at 5% Stafford. I want to be underweight this year.
I got almost certainly am underweight on Stafford. I think I literally only ever take him in this slot because you don't want to backstack him. I don't take much Davante Adams at all. Let me check that.
Yeah, because obviously he was
4% of Stafford.
He was great in fantasy last year. He finished as the QB3, but these guys that aren't going to run the ball at all, what it took for him to be a top fantasy option was him being the number one guy in the NFL with passing yards and passing touchdowns.
It took Sean McVay completely reinventing offensive formations at the NFL level, and also something that I think will still probably be a part of the offense, which is spamming 1-yard touchdowns. My guess is that they'll run that back, the 1-yard touchdowns to Davante Adams or Terrence Ferguson.
Can you give me your take on Nabers?
I'm drafting a lot of him right now, particularly in the time box contests. Maybe a little bit less aggro, but you can kind of find a quote that supports whatever you want. Like you can find a quote that supports, oh, this dude's like going to be awful all year. He's going to be back in week 6. You can find the GM saying, oh yeah, we think he's good to go. Like you can kind of find whatever. To me, it's as simple as if you get the top 15th percentile outcome on him, you got a first round pick and at the 3-4 turn, you got the same as Justin Jefferson in round 3.
What's interesting in my mind too is like people in best ball tournaments will maybe correctly identify like, hey, week 17 upside's the only thing that matters, right? Week 17, that's all you want. And then they'll look at a player like Nabers as an example and be scared off of him not playing the first 4 weeks, when at the same time, all they'll talk about is week 17 bringbacks and needing to have your in-game correlation for that one final week, where it's like, hey, where are we ranking Malik Nabers in our week 17 fantasy football rankings?
Very high. Top 10 wide receiver. Would you like to take Rachaad White?
Yeah, White's my highest rank.
Hey, I get it. My friend Jacob Sanderson has 42% of Rachaad White in Best Ball Mania right now, which feels about 32% too high. But sometimes you got to attack a mispricing.
I mean, yeah, if you whiff on Rachaad White being that expensive, what's the worst case scenario?
That he's like the 7.5 points per game guy that he was for the Buccaneers last year.
And
probably.
you wasted pick 117.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Hey, they're basically all the Buck players right here. We're to that part of the draft.
Real quick, who are we going to take? I'm down for Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt. This is something that I think is super interesting. I've obviously have won the big dog before. Let's take JCM, please. But I've come pretty damn close to winning it multiple times. And one of the times that, okay, so this is a story. The year that I won the big dog, the year before, I had Jamar Chase his rookie season, in which, remember, Chase week 17 had like 55 points or whatever it would have been. Like, it would have been what I needed to win the big dog, which had like a 10-team final, no team with Chase in 21 or 20, whenever it was. I had a 2 tight end build with Travis Kelce and another tight end that was out for the season. I needed 4 points from Kelce to make the final and then win the big dog. But Kelce got popped on the COVID list week 16, and it was like a game time decision.
The COVID list,
dude, on if he was going to play. But that team, I had it built out where it was like a very similar build like this. I think it was the 2 Bucs running backs at the time, where it's like, hey, both RBs going in rounds 10 and 11, take both of them. And it's a very cheap investment to just guarantee yourself usable weeks in best ball. Maybe your ceiling is a little bit capped if you don't really believe in the talent for either guy. But at running back specifically, just getting the usable weeks on a team in which we waited this long, I think is a pretty good thing.
No, I completely agree. I think that for the cheap backfields, I think it's a pretty underrated strategy, like taking Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. If when Chuba Hubbard was a 9th round pick and Jonathan Brooks was a 13th round pick, I think you could get away with that. I think you could do Warren and Dowdle this year. I don't think it's that bad. I agree with you. I mean, it's not impossible that there's a scenario where they both get there in the same week. Like, I mean, Barkley and Bigsby had this happen last year, like sometime when you're just steamrolling the opposition. I don't really think it's that bad at all.
Yeah, like I almost think it's a fine idea on a team that we take the 2 top wide receivers and take Bowers to go like, hey, we just kind of need a floor at running back, and taking Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, 10 and 11, Rachaad White, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, 10 and 11.
Yeah. All right, we have a 2-4-4-1. We're definitely in the quarterback window here. If we wanted to take a third that didn't suck,
we don't have any stacks available, right?
Yeah, we got nothing. It would be Cam Ward back stacks or Stroud back stacks. I mean, this is a gross range. What do you want to do?
I have no preference.
Let's do Cam Ward, because we can do Helm later. We can do Ridley later. We can do Tajay Spears later. And I don't know, there's like some small chance that Cam Ward breaks out. I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick not that long ago. There are definitely believers in the ball knowers community in Cam Ward.
Yeah, I posted the Vegas projections on the site for this upcoming year with like implied team totals. Last year, the Titans averaged 16.7 points per game. This year, they project at 20.3. So sportsbooks have the Titans as the 2nd most improved offense year over year. Can we take Woody Marks?
Yes, we can.
So they have them as the 2nd most improved offense year over year, only behind the Raiders.
It's pretty interesting that the improvements are already reflected in the lines. I wouldn't necessarily I would think the Titans would not be getting any respect. I would guess they were viewed as similarly bad.
To be fair, they're still supposed to be a bad offense. The only offenses that project out worse than them are Cleveland, Arizona, Miami, the Jets, the Raiders, the Panthers. So they're still near the bottom, but supposed to be much better than at least they were last year. Or last year, they were the second to worst offense in the league, only ahead of the Browns. I'm sorry, third ahead of the Browns and Raiders.
Oh, man, the Raiders being so bad last year, I mean, in retrospect, very obvious that a Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly offense was not going to cut it in 2025, but I definitely sold myself that story.
Well, yeah, and the Raiders do project to be the most improved offense year over year. Well, last year they were at 14.2 points per game. This year they project at 19.1.
Yeah. And hey, Clint Kubiak, I mean, I'm going to fall for that football again. I'm losing football again.
The Raiders get the trifecta: offensive line improvement, quarterback improvement, and coaching staff improvement.
Right? Their offensive line, I was going to say, if their offensive line finds a way to be worse than last year when it was literally Pete Carroll's Nepo baby children coaching the offensive line, it would be like absolutely spectacular degrees of failure. I don't really think it could be much worse. All right. So we are sitting at needing probably, definitely at least 3 more wide receivers, maybe 4, because we can probably get away with 2 tight ends here. I mean, the tool is
we're definitely taking 2 tight ends. We need 4 receivers. I mean, we need at least 3, possibly to go with the 6 RB build, but we're slamming wide receivers now.
Would you rather take Debo or Stribling?
Let's take Stribling.
Yeah. I mean, do I like Stribling? Not okay. Well, never mind. Decision got made for us. Flournoy, another guy where there's just a lot of talk about Ryan Flournoy. I don't know how much I'm buying it, but the Cowboys beat writers are certainly making it seem like a thing. And I kind of have sour grapes because I didn't really draft any of him. And now he's expensive. All right, let's take Debo. So now we have Puka, Davante, Marv, QJ, and Debo, which is fine. That's a fine room.
Let me know, why would you think, I'm not saying you're wrong at anything. I'm just saying, explain it to me. But why does it matter what the beat reporters are saying about Ryan Flournoy if his role his role's locked in? I think it matters a lot if the beat reporters are coming out and saying hey, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt's the freaking dude. He looks like he's the starting running back in Washington. At that point, I'm willing to adjust costs and adjust my rankings. But if it's them coming out and saying hey, the guy we thought was going to be the wide receiver 3, he looks good. It's okay, cool. Does his role change at all?
What do you want to? Do you want to take Helm?
Yeah, let's take Gunnar Helm.
So one of the I think with Flournoy in particular, the reason why I moved my rankings is because there is a shit ton of contingent value with him, because were Pickens or Lamb to miss any time, he would be he did have a really nice role last year when Lamb was out. Ryan Flournoy and Javonte Williams, the first pair of Cowboys teammates to have 100 yards rushing and receiving in the same half of a game ever.
Let's pull this up real quick. Let me look at Ryan Flournoy with and without CeeDee Lamb.
I was going to say it's probably, I can't remember when his really good game was in a blowout, if I remember correctly. So it might have even been
without CeeDee Lamb. He averaged 9.8 fantasy points per game as the wide receiver 42.
Hey, how many targets per game?
5.67.
That's pretty good at wide receiver 60, whatever. That's pretty good.
I know, but I mean, if that's best case scenario, Lamb going.
I'm not the one pushing Flournoy up. I'm not you were pointing at the wrong guy. I am not the Flournoy drafter. I'm the one. I am the one saying this is preposterous, and instead I'm pushing up Adonai Mitchell.
Well, what's the thought process with Adonai Mitchell here?
Best receiver on the team, buddy. You're wearing the Jets jersey.
Can I say real quick? I think it was disaster class for us to take Cam Ward when we could have got Mendoza having Bowers. I completely forgot we took Bowers.
You know, I'm kind of two minds about the Mendoza-Bowers thing. Oh, damn, Ridley goes. All right, that's kind of annoying. Because one of the things you could argue is that maybe the best thing for Bowers. What are you thinking here? Any wide receiver
I
you
would
want?
take Aiyuk.
One of the things that might end up being good for Bowers is Cousins plays better than we think and holds on for the job longer than we think, in which case we'd be eating a lot of zeros on Mendoza. Because we know, I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Cousins can feed whoever the number one guy is. I mean, that is basically, that's been Cousins' job for a decade, and he's really good at it.
I know we talked about this earlier, but I mean, it is just such an extreme if we're looking at number one overall picks with how many games they start their rookie seasons. Like
I mean, Mendoza's gonna start 14 games or whatever. I think that's probably true.
Like you have Cam Ward, Caleb, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler, Baker. What, Baker sat out like 4 games to start his rookie season?
Less even, because he came in the middle of one game that Tyrod got hurt in.
Because, yeah, I remember going into that year, everybody was talking that Baker was going to sit super long time. Then we had Goff 2016, like Jameis 2015. How far back do we have to go to see like a number one, Andrew Luck 2012, Cam Newton 20? How far back do we have to go to see somebody that actually sat out a considerable amount of time their rookie season?
I mean, number one overall, you got to go back like 15 years. Jordan Love sat, Mahomes sat.
But I don't know if you can compare Jordan Love and Mahomes.
No, you can't. You can't. Yeah, it's just like, also I can see Mendoza kind of just like not being that good of a fantasy quarterback, but Bowers still easily getting there. Where it's like there are definitely paths where, I mean, Ward ran a lot at Washington State and at Incarnate Ward and then didn't at all for Miami. So if he adds a little bit of that, it's not great, but I'm not giving it disaster class. There are bigger disaster classes out there.
Like, I think, do you have to go back to Stafford in 2009 to see the last time a quarterback didn't
like legit sat?
Yeah.
I think if we go to what's that website you like, NFLDraftHistory.com.
That's what I'm literally on right now on my other monitor.
I would say that's probably it. If for a number one overall pick, yeah. I mean, even Josh Rosen played. Yeah. I think Bradford that got shook loose from the other days. That
whenever I did this in my live stream last time, I had a bunch of people in the comments going like, they didn't have Kirk Cousins. But in my mind, it's like Kirk Cousins at this point of his career isn't any. I think you go back.
No, he stinks. He stinks.
Exactly. You look at the narrative of these other round one guys with where they were selected. I'm down to go with the 6th running back here or an 8th receiver. I'm fine.
I was thinking this team actually might make more sense for a 6th running back because we have the 2 Washington
Let's take
guys.
Mike Washington.
There, we got some week 17 correlation with Marvin Harrison. I'm hip to that. I mean, Mike Washington, not a very good player, but a very athletic player. So sometimes
I'm completely fine taking. I'm an idiot when it comes to these rookies. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. But I'm completely fine taking Black, Katron Allen, Mike Washington, Emmett Johnson, Nicholas Singleton in the final 3 rounds.
For sure.
Yeah, like just because the opportunity cost is so low that if they do anything, which I mean, I think all these rookies, maybe the most likely outcome is they give you zeros, but I think there is a world in which they can hit a high ceiling.
I mean, Kalen Black in particular, I think is, I mean, he was the 3rd round pick. He was the 3rd running back drafted in this class and is going under. I mean, what is the draft rate of Kalen Black in Best Ball Mania right now? According to our stuff, I'm going to guess it's like, he's like 5.5% of teams. So
I bet you it's higher than that.
2.8%. So what? That's less than 40% of teams have or less than 40% of drafts he's drafted. I have 9.3% of him. Yeah. All right. This team was Purdy, Stafford, Ward, Skattebo, Swift, Rashad White, Corey Krosky-Merritt, Woody Marks, Mike Washington, Puka Nacua, Devonta Smith, Marvin Harrison, QJ, Debo, Aiyuk, reuniting Debo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk with Brock Purdy, Ted Hurst, Brock Bowers, and Gunnar Helm. You know what? I bet that Bowers Helm combo, I bet I have so many of those. 22.
3.1% compared to 4%. I mean, 0.4 in the field. Hey, before I bounce, can I ask you a quick question about the World Cup?
Yes, you can.
You're the only person I know that I'd be able to ask this to. How is like the hype in your world in comparison to what maybe you thought it was going to be coming in? Because I thought it was going to be like nothing, but it seems way bigger than like in the fantasy football world than I thought it was going to be. Like people in my live stream, they're talking about it.
It's because once the thing starts to happen, you can't, like, it's on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's big, right? That it's just literally on every day. The other thing is not only are the US winning, like they're already qualified to the next round, but they look great.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've been watching the U.S. games and excited about that, but like these like random 2 countries I've never heard of playing, people will be talking about it in my chat.
Yes, no, like people like last night, New Zealand played, and people everyone in my Discord was like watching the New Zealand game, and I'm like, I love soccer, so it's great. It's great for me. I've enjoyed it, but yeah, no, before it started, same vibes as you. It's like I don't know how big this is going to be, but yeah, people are seeming to be super into it.
Yeah, and then whenever I open up Underdog, it'll be like 95,000 picks have been made on this game tonight of like, again, of 2 countries I've never heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great. What time are you going live tonight?
I don't know, Chief. Maybe sometime tonight. We'll see.
Sometime tonight. You go. You're doing. I've been meaning to ask you this too. What are you changed the thumbnail for the lives? They're now very distinct from the edited videos.
Yeah, it's just ripping a screenshot of me in it. Because again, I think like specifically live streams, nobody's finding you new from a live stream. You know what I mean? I think that you just kind of want to show people exactly what they're clicking into. I mean, I talked about this on Pete's. I don't know how much of it got cut out. I don't remember. I talked about it in depth on Pete's video about like the people that were making a video or making a live stream or something that I judged. It's like what YouTube wants in a thumbnail and a title is users know what they're clicking into. You know, I made a reference like when I was telling Pete about it, because they like the people I was judging put like, we stole $100,000 of Pete's money to draft this team or whatever, and put Pete on the thumbnail. It's like, Pete's not in the video. There's obviously nobody believes you took $100,000 from them, you know? So I want for when anybody clicks into any of my stuff, for them to know kind of exactly what they're
what they're getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously it's a fine line to walk between something that is very clickable and getting exactly what it is. I mean, that's basically the whole deal. That's basically the YouTube business. If you're really good at that, then you would probably go far. On youtube.com.
Let me see. But even my titles lately, like if you share my screen real quick, have been... Yeah,
your titles have been funny.
Have been like nothing really. And the reason like, I don't know, but just like kind of titling it, people who are going to the live streams at night, they know what an underdog draft is. You know, I don't have to tell them like, drafting in Best Ball Mania or blah, blah, blah. They get it.
Yeah. You know what? I had been aping into your strategy of just like fantasy football drafts or whatever. And it's, I don't know if the correlation is because you've been on the stream some or whatever it has been, but my like year over year new viewers is much higher.
Oh, for sure. I definitely noticed like if you compare your streams to like other best ball streams, you're growing more than, I don't want to say you're growing more than anybody in the best ball space, but looking really good in comparison to past.
But the thing is that I don't know if that is the flock bump or if it's literally just a change in the titles.
I think
and
it's
the
probably
thumbnails.
a combo. You know, I think this also sounds dumb, but I think just having you on the site and like anybody, all the users on the site, every time they go to a player profile and they see Davis Maddox's head on it, you know,
No, for sure.
I think
It's
that matters.
definitely big.
But like,
Yeah.
just as an example of like, whenever we do our next draft on my channel, which again, I message you, I need you July 3rd, if you're cool for that.
I'm
going to be
in.
I'm going to be in Ontario, so I'm not going to be able to.
You need someone to drive.
Exactly. So you're going to be in charge.
Okay.
But like what I'll do is I'm going to rip a screenshot of us in the draft. Like, so exactly like how I have been doing my previous one, draft board, and then a little photo of me. I'm going to do draft board, 2 photos of us, like exactly how it looks. I'm going to just put 2 idiots drafting, you know, or 2 idiots drafting a team, something like that. You know, where it like piques some interest. It's short. People know what they're clicking. Because again, I the last thing I think you should do on YouTube is like, I think the people that stream basketball stuff and going like, I'm going to win $2 million with this team.
Yeah.
Like people who watch videos,
too narrow.
People who watch videos are smart. You know what I mean? Like people watching this live stream, they're smart. They're not going to go like, hey, you got a $2 million draft? What? You know, like they're intelligent enough to know like
100%. No, it's so true. You're like, if you cater to the lowest common denominator, you will get what you get with that.
And in general, like people on YouTube are smart, you know, so like, I think you got to give them
especially these days with TikTok and short form video. Like if you're choosing to watch a long form video.
Well, I asked in my live stream yesterday, like, hey, what year were y'all born in? Because somebody said they were born in like 2003. I was like, dear God, you're young. And the vast majority of people were 1982, 1985, 1979, 1991, you know, like I had maybe like 3% or 4% say they were born in the year 2000 or after. You know, the people that are watching, they're grown-ass men. They're smart. You know, you can't really bamboozle them into a video. You got to let them know, like, hey, this is what it is. You want to watch it or not?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that is, the packaging just has to be very clear.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Appreciate
Have a good day.
All right. See ya.
All right, everyone. Mason's out of here. We are going to do at least one. Well, actually, maybe I won't, man. What's the next game is France, Iraq is on when? France, Iraq is on in 47 minutes. How many likes do you guys have on this video? There are 54 likes on this video. That's not cutting it. I'm not doing another draft unless you guys get to 100. Come on, dude. I can go watch Michael Elise bang one in right now against Iraq. So if we get some more likes, there's a couple new tournaments out, right? So the Mastiff is out, the Puppy 2 is about full, the Poodle is out. Did the Frenchie Sprint? Okay, and the Frenchie Sprint is already almost full. Wow, 150 max. Oh, okay, an hour 47. All right, so we definitely have time then. If MBF is correct, okay, so we definitely have time. So you guys can generate a reasonable amount of likes then. We should at least be able to get to 100. There are 275 of you guys watching right now, so we should be able to get to there. I don't have to make any of my slow draft picks for 5 more hours. Should I make a pick right now? This is a field general. I need a running back on this team. All right, we're going to take Sean Tucker. There you go. Daniel just got here to hit the like button. Yeah, come on, dude. Come on, you guys want Daniel to drive home in silence? Come on, man. All right, here's what we'll do. We will cook up a little pick'em because I have actually I don't even need a boost because this one is just going to hit. We're going to cook up a little pick'em, and then we're going to do goal plus assist for Michael Elise. We are going to go shots attempted for Riyad Mahrez. Can I get a Riyad Mahrez shot attempt? There we go. 2.5. And then can I get a Julian Ryerson line. Julian Ryerson has what available? Goals plus assists. Yeah, we're gonna do goals plus assists for Julian Ryerson. I'm gonna toss $10. Nope, $12 on that. There you go. Here's a little sweat. Ooh, a fellow deadhead. I don't know about fellow a big fan. All right, how many likes do you guys have? I'm refreshing right now. We've got 92. All right, we'll call it good. We'll call it good at 92. There you go. Elise, goal plus assist. Mahrez, 2.5 shots. Ryerson, a goal or an assist. And there's a new contest out. 20 entry max for how much per pop? $7 per pop. 2 of 12, 1 of 6, 1 of 5, and a 310 person final. Let's go find ourselves a shipper right here. You know what? And let's go also, let me click the sync button on the Flock Fantasy tool because I have not synced my drafts. I didn't know my letter grade on the last one. All right, we are live. We are drafting out of the 3-hole here. We are drafting with Bow and Arrows, Marino 13, J Free 09, Party Moose, Native Baller, Dab K, Goalie 1992, my guy Michael Hodson, Woo Doggy 15, Monster Hits Only, and JSN 0D. So I guess we will be starting our team with Ja'Marr Chase. Fine by me, 6.8% of Ja'Marr Chase. I have a vintage Grateful Dead t-shirt collection. I would love that because I love vintage clothing. I love t-shirts in general. I have way too many t-shirts. Let me tell you guys, that's a tough thing about becoming an old man is you realize that you need to have clothing items that are not t-shirts and that are not jeans or shorts. I mean, I just have gym shorts on every day of my life. So I've had to grow up out of that phase a little bit. All right, Ja'Marr Chase, welcome to the team. Nice little start there. I wonder what my combo ownership of, so I have how many Ja'Marr Chase teams? I have 711 total teams. Ja'Marr Chase is on 49 of them. I wonder, my combos with him are 20% of my Ja'Marr Chase teams have Joe Burrow. 27% of the teams in our database and in our projection have them. So I'm actually I'm basically double below weight on that combo on the first date. I love t-shirts. I do all DK basically just watch for the vibes. Well, hey, first off, I appreciate you. Second off, I think there are plenty of things that cross-platform make sense between DraftKings and Underdog. And then there will be another DraftKings Best Ball Week coming back on the channel. It's going to be I believe, July 21st, because it's going to be the week after I get back from my vacation. The Flock tool with promo code Davis is a good question, Brad. So I have lied about this on stream before because I didn't know, but the combo package that gets the Best Ball add-on is $147 annually with code Davis, but you don't just get the Best Ball stuff, you get everything on the site. So if you go to flockfantasy.com, you get the My Team Manager, you get all the Best Ball stuff, you get rankings for Dynasty Superflex, one quarterback, 2026 Superflex, regular 2026 rookie rankings. You get a voucher bundle, so you can get a team review, trade questions, start sit. You can get a Best Ball portfolio review. We have a trade calculator. We've got a mock drafting tool. We have the player comparison tool, the predict tab, which honestly I should probably pull up more often, but is pretty cool. We have 3 different prospect models on the site as well. I mean, I would say $147 annually for all that stuff is Let's say it's adequate market value. What's the parlay for France? I like Michael Elise to score a goal in whatever parlance you would like this guy packs. I think you're right, MBF. I believe that is the first time I've seen the combination of Jefferson, St. Brown, and Lamb all go ahead. Native Baller got the Maddox start of Justin Jefferson and Kenneth Walker there. Man, do I want to take... Is Bowers Chase has to feel kind of unique, right? All right, well, he goes... A.J. Brown has got to be kind of unique there. No, 12%. Well, I mean, 12%, whatever. All right, let's do it. Chase and A.J. Brown. That gives me May or Burrow over there. That feels fine. All right. Now, Mason isn't here, so I could take Breece Hall with this pick, and I would feel okay about it. I don't really mind taking Breece Hall here, actually. I'm certain that I am higher on Breece than Mason is. Wow, Nabers goes here. That's very interesting. All right. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take Breece Hall here. So we have Chase, AJ Brown, and Breece. Cost of Flock 2 with promo code Davis, $147. Having the info to win all your leagues, priceless. I should pay you the marketing bucks, Daniel. I mean, I do legitimately believe that, because basically what it is the cost of the annual stuff on the Flock site is $99 for like redraft and dynasty and stuff. And then so the add-on is only $47, which feels pretty reasonable for best ball tools these days. I do think that Mason is probably correct about these whole range of running backs feeling very similar. Like, Breece does not profile that much differently than Javonte Williams or Skattebo, honestly. I think they are relatively similar guys. Yeah, I don't think that's insane. The deal with Breece is his outcomes, I think, are rather asymmetric, because Breece could benefit greatly from a competent offense. Like, I've said that one of the big things for me this season would be knowing how many games that Geno Smith starts for the New York Jets. Like, if you knew that Geno Smith was starting 17 games for the New York Jets, you would be higher on Garrett Wilson. You would be higher on Omar Cooper. You'd be higher on Sadiq. You'd be higher on Breece Hall. You'd probably even be higher on Braylon Allen, just because it means the team is competent. It means that the overall team is probably going to be performing above their baseline. And Breece is also a talent bet. And the talent stuff on Breece has been pretty good, basically, for like the entirety of Breece Hall's career. Like, if we look at, I mean, his juke rates have always been quite good. He's earned targets in the passing game, above 6 yards per target. Above 6 yards per target as a running back is quite good. Above 4.5 yards per carry for his Jets career. Like, the guy has been very talented. Yes, there is a Geno Smith video going around of him, like his something like the mother of his kid is like yelling at him, saying she hit him. I did see an amendment to that, which is that the police went out to Geno Smith's house and they left. They said that, this does not require the intervention of the police wherever Geno Smith is living right now, and that there were no charges filed. So it doesn't seem like anything really is going to happen with Geno right now, but I don't know, maybe a time to be drafting Cade Klubnik in whatever, in the field general. So this is a tricky spot often in drafts where I'm going to take Jaylen Waddle, who is the one I have the most exposure to here, because I don't really care which one of these running backs I get. And I think there's a pretty big tier break after Waddle, J-Mo, and Mike Evans. But if I get any of David Montgomery, Trevion Henderson, Bucky Irving, Quinshon Judkins, Byshal Tootin, there's just a huge wall of running backs there, all of whom I like. I don't actually, I don't dislike any of these guys. If there were a way that I could guarantee myself being above market on all these guys, I probably would. I mean, Tootin clearly is my favorite of that group. Looking like we're going to get a little bit of falling ADP value here on Jameson Williams. I probably just take Tootin here because that's who I have ranked the highest. Maybe I should balance it out a little bit more. You know what? This is a pretty fire start, so let's just take David Montgomery and let's just not mess with it. David Montgomery, very good pick. Do I like Mr. Brad start in the 7 slot? Brad did St. Brown, London, ETN, Jacobs. Yeah, I do. I do quite like that start. I think the starts, honestly, that I end up feeling the best about in general this year are 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers through 4 rounds. And it doesn't really matter which order you do them in. I think you can do St. Brown, London, ETN, Jacobs, or what Michael did in the 9 slot, Taylor, Achane, Flowers, Burden. I think both of those, you take either one. I mean, Native Baller did the same thing. He did Jefferson, then Walker, then Rice, then Skattebo. Those starts to me just feel so good. You build in a floor at the running back position. You build in a little bit of ceiling at the wide receiver position. It's the easiest way to do it is with wide receivers first, because I do think Mason is making a great point, and I think this is a nice. I really enjoy being able to do the streams with Mason and with Coop, and then also doing all the shows with Jacob and Karain, and Neil, and kind of knowing what is going on there with the sidekick, because I get to sort of feel out what the Sims are doing. I sort of get to feel out what like the what would be the kind of the historical data guys are doing, know what the vibes based guys are doing. I mean, I just find it all very interesting. And I really liked Mason's point about the research that Hayden has done, which is it's tough to be too far behind at wide receiver. You can get very far behind at wide receiver, and you can try and make up with it in numbers. But obviously, there's no guarantee there. Having 9 wide receivers is nice, and I really like the. I really, really like the sort of the way that Karain has explained it to me, and the way that Sacrilegious and Shady have talked about it, wherein, a lot of times there are many scenarios that your best ball season might hinge on Tyquan Thornton getting you 9 fantasy points. Actually, and Mason just explained that in its own way, which is like, had Travis Kelce not missed that game with COVID and gotten 4 points, and you give yourself more outs by adding up numbers at that position, right? I mean, that is just certainly true. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm locked into an elite quarterback here. I'd rather have Burrow with Chase than I would May with Brown. But if May comes back around, I'm going to take him at 75 and actually double up on those. Doesn't the majority of wide receiver data Mason uses come from the pre-22 version of the NFL? No. The data that Mason is using, and that is in this tool, and that is in that is just on Flock Fantasy in general, is all up to date with really every pick that has ever been made in Best Ball Mania, including 2024, including 2025, 2023. So it's this overlay tool that I'm using, this Flock Fantasy tool, has every pick that has ever been made in Best Ball Mania, factoring into the advance rates and to the uniqueness stuff. All right, so May goes, so we're not able to do that, which is unfortunate. You know what? I've been noticing Caleb Williams fall more often in this range. We are going to take Ramondre Stevenson here, double up on the Patriots. So we've got Burrow, Breece, Montgomery, Ramondre, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, and Jaylen Waddle. We're true break even on 734,000 sample size of teams between 2 and 3 quarterbacks. Best advance rate available for us is going to be 22% at 5 running backs. 7 wide receivers is optimal, and almost certainly going to be 18% with 3 tight ends, which is right about what I figured it would be. It is true. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is true that wide receiver scoring in 2021 and 2022 were way I mean, the 2020 season was the super happy fun ball era of the NFL. Now, a lot of you are probably were not playing fantasy football back in 2011. 2011 was the crazy. I mean, this was the all-time season in fantasy football. If you didn't get to play 2011 fantasy football, I feel kind of bad for you. We had 3 different 5,000-yard passers in 16 games. We had just in terms of where's yards per game. So we had 5 different quarterbacks over 300 yards per game. We had, Matt Ryan for 4,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, like just absurd stuff was happening. And the receiving was similarly ridiculous. Look at all these 1,000-yard wide receivers. There were 19 different 1,000-yard wide receivers. We had all these guys with over 80 receptions. Like this Hakeem Nicks season was crazy, and he had the 19th most receptions in football. I mean, it was a truly, truly insane time to be playing fantasy football. Yeah, what are you guys doing in this situation? My guy Michael just took Caleb Williams at 81. I mean, he already had. Well, actually, I was going to say this is an easy decision he made because he already had Lamar, which maybe would have made it difficult. But he also had Burden. The trickier situation in fantasy football and in best ball these days is when Caleb Williams is a big faller in one of your drafts, and you don't have Luther Burden, you don't have Rome Odunze, you don't have Colson Loveland. Those are much trickier spots. I've probably done it maybe like 3 times total where I've taken Caleb Williams without anyone else on the team, like without any other Bear. Yeah, we did have a lot more future MVP quarterbacks than we do now. It's very true. I mean, the quarterback play was really something else back then. But man, I certainly do miss that version of the NFL. All right, Purdy's still on the board, so kind of, you know what? I'm actually gonna take Gainwell, who I have like basically none of. I'm gonna be buying the top Reno here on Gainwell at pick 94. What do you guys think about that? Is that terrible to buy the top on Gainwell? I mean, that's where I have Gainwell ranked, and I feel that I have him ranked appropriately. I guess I should have just played the ADP game there a little bit. It's gonna hurt my flock letter grade, but I don't really care which one of these quarterbacks gets to me. These wide receivers are kind of like a flat tier as well. In terms of quarterbacks, I've got Mayfield with Gainwell. I've got Nicks. I've got Stroud that I can do with David Montgomery. And I'm probably only going to take 2. So I actually think I'm going to push quarterback more here. This feels like a push quarterback draft. So I'm going to take Michael Pittman Jr., who's my highest ranked wide receiver. This is going to be a 3 tight end team anyway. So that now brings us to, I mean, I think this is going to be a pretty good team. A+ on advancement, B+ on ADP score, C- on uniqueness. All right. Well, I guess uniqueness is the part I don't care about as much there. The answer is to take a falling Caleb and backstack with Xavier Thomas. My guy might be a ball knower there. All right, and then I can take Gesicki later. I can take Pirine later if I want. I think both of those make some sense. Are you guys taking Pirine? I've noticed that a fair amount of places have Pirine ranked as a very draftable guy. What is Monster Hits doing over there? He might be auto drafting. Well, I don't think he's auto drafting. He's just vibing, brother. Monster Hits is just vibing. Rashad White, Justin Herbert, Jordan Addison, Marv, Jadarian Price, Tet, Igbuka, McBride and Genty. I mean, let's check that combo. That's got to be like none. Genty and McBride are estimated to be on, I'm going to guess definitely less than 1%, maybe less than 0.1%, 0.2% of rosters. I have Genty and McBride on only 6 of 711 teams. So very, very hard combination to get Genty and McBride. And obviously you're getting leverage on Bowers there. And Genty's outcomes are probably improved in a game without Bowers, I would imagine. Pirine feels like he has too much of a chance to go to 0. Feels like he's probably just going to be the just feels like he's probably going to be the third down back on a team that passes a ton. I don't really think that's that. I don't think Pirine is bad. What I tell, it's just not, there's no sex appeal there in any way, shape, or form. Dang, okay. So missed out on all the second tier of quarterbacks. You know, this could maybe be a spot to get someone I literally never draft any of, which would be Romeo Doubs. Crane was talking about him on Best Ball, kind of like a Patriots stack without May type thing. All right, Romeo Doubs, come on down. Come on down, brother. Join the squad. I'm here because I like blindly drafting every player Davis does and apparently lose money. No other reason to tune in. I agree. All auditors can kick rocks. Yeah, DeMercado is maybe a good pick. I don't know. I mean, Emmett Johnson could win that third down job for Kansas City. I would say I have a low degree of confidence either direction there. So Shuck doesn't. Oh man, Willis and Burrow have conflicting buys. So do I do the Shuckster thing? Where am I at with quarterbacks here? All right, we're gonna try and push it. We're gonna take Mark Andrews as our tight end for the Week 17 correlation. It's gonna be a 3 tight end team, and we are gonna push it at quarterback, which is not something I attempt to do all that often. Is this where Aiyuk moves if he is moved to the Commanders? So this is my guess. My guess is that he ends up probably a smidgen higher. He probably go, well, no, I think you're right, actually. I think we'll see him go, his ADP will settle above Romeo Doubs and Wandale, but he will not, I don't think he will get into the 100s, Brandon Aiyuk. Feels like there's multiple potentially generational wealth spots this year. Yeah, you just have to embrace the risk. You got to embrace the risk with Rice. You got to embrace the risk with Nabers, with Jacobs, with Kittle, with Mahomes. I completely agree. For DraftKings, I just use the Flock tool, brother. It's the only draft tool your boy is using this year. Flock Fantasy Overlay promo code Davis is my draft tool of choice. Taking Pirine is like saying hello to your unattractive 60-year-old in-law and she pinches your butt. Could be fun, but probably shouldn't. I think he's better than that. I think Pirine was a little bit better than you guys are giving him credit for last year. Samaj Pirine, last year, he had what? He had games of 17, of 12, of 8, of 8. He got hurt for a little bit in here. I mean, he wasn't great. He existed. Samaj Pirine existed. You know, he's out there. All right. Now, I could take Stroud. I could take Ward. I could take Dimes. I guess Ward has backstacks, Stroud has backstacks, and I probably have the least. I mean, I'm going to guess I have very little. Mark Schultz. Adele I have a fair few of. But yeah, really nothing there. Am I missing out? I'm not really missing out on any wide receiver that I like here. All right, we are going to take CJ Stroud, who correlates with David Montgomery. What about Taj Brooks? He was great in college. I don't know if he was great in college. He didn't play very much, and I don't think he projects to play much more this upcoming year. But I could be wrong. I mean, assuming he makes the team, but we've seen the Bengals do this with guys. They did this with Trevion Williams. There was a guy before Trevion Williams and a guy before Chase Brown who also hung around on the team forever and never got the ball. I can't think of his name right now. So if anyone can remember that guy. Probably not going to take Woody Marks. Probably not. I guess I could take Shaheed. I don't really like Shaheed. Let's actually take Jonah Coleman, which correlates with our. Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Which correlates with our Patriots stuff and with our Denver stuff. Setting up, just it's going to be an all-time barn burner. The Week 17 game between the Patriots and the Broncos. Yes, if I heard some positive reports on Taj Brooks, if I heard the Taj Brooks is playing on passing downs, the team feels good about Taj Brooks. Like if I heard any of those things about Taj Brooks, sure. I know Shaheed was my guy last year. Big fan of Shaheed last year. I think he's in a terrible situation for himself for fantasy football. The Seahawks are not going to pass. Like they're definitely going to be negative PROE, right? I mean, I think we certainly know that. And they're going to have a guy who basically leads the NFL in targets per route run and in target share in one Mr. Jackson Smith-Njigba. They're going to play a lot of 12, right? They're going to play Arroyo and Barner together. And because they play those guys together, there's fewer snaps for Shaheed. Like what did Shaheed max out at in terms of snaps last year? Rashid Shaheed, once he got traded to the Seahawks, I guess he played quite a bit, or were these Saints games? He played a little bit more than I remember, but just did nothing for fantasy. I mean, I Shaheed the player I think is great, but I am worried it is not a particularly good fantasy situation, if that makes sense. Like I even for a skilled player, I am worried that and like I said, I think he is very skilled. But I mean, how many pass attempts do we think are going to be there? Wait, I'm on the clock. Well, let's take Dalton Schultz. So we got that locked in, and then 22%, 5 running backs. So I think we're just going to jam some wide receivers here, and then definitely a third tight end. I don't think we need a third quarterback. I think we're probably set there. I remember Cedric Pierman. Let's see if I can remember. Right, 2023 Bengals depth chart. I bet we can figure this out, because there was another guy who hung around there forever and never played. Chris Evans. Yes. Thank you, Jake. I am thinking of Chris Evans. That is precisely who I was thinking of. I knew you'd have my back on that one. Wide receiver. Let's take Tank Dell. Why not? Why not take Tank Dell at pick 171? Chris Evans. What is my current Sharp stance? I'm out. I'm out on Sharps. Yeah, I think you could take him in like 4-12 or something, but I would say generally I am out. Because I am a Jadarian Price drafter also. So if you're in on Price, you can't also be in on Charbonnet. Like if you are drafting Jadarian Price at his cost, you have to believe that Jadarian Price can just win this. You just have to believe that it can just win. Does the Flock tool have the ability to go back and rate last year's BBM winning team draft? I'm sure the capability would be there, but the way it's set up right now, no. I mean, I could ask if we could bring it back. Yes, you can definitely take Charbonnet the next time they bring back an 11 of 12. Why not? I mean, it's not the worst to do this. I mean, we just have learned so much about best ball and going back and studying these, like, and one of the things that we really have found is that basically the worst thing you can do for your advance rate, the worst thing you can do for your week 17 is just like having zeros is tough. Just made a nice futures bet on Japan winning the World Cup. I mean, I don't think they can win the World Cup. I don't think that they are physical enough. They're very, very good technically. It's so hard at the level that these guys play to be consistently the smallest team on the pitch. You know, it's just tough. Zeros are technically earliest to make up in the early season. Yeah, but this dude might not be back until November. So that is not the early season. Japan had an assist the other night that was the best assist I've ever seen. I've been watching soccer for a long time, like 8 or 9 years at this point. The first season that I followed soccer was the season that Luis Suarez transferred from Liverpool to Barcelona. So whatever that year was, I believe it was I think Chelsea won the league that year. And it might have been the best assist I've ever seen in my life. It was completely unbelievable. All right, we are up. We have a 2-5-6-2. We need multiple more wide receivers. We need one more tight end. Feels like we probably... Do I have any correlation here? No correlation in the playoffs with Dulcich. Yeah, I'm just going to take Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is the most boring, bland vegetable imaginable, but it's getting really hard to not take him. What are my thoughts on Tetairoa McMillan in Dynasty? I think he's a stud, but I have a hard time believing he ever gets legit volume. Will Bryce the quarterback? I mean, generally speaking in Dynasty, if you end up being right about his ability, you're going to come out ahead when you don't care about the situation. Like if you just lock into elite assets like that and you hold, by and large in Dynasty, you will come out ahead more often than not. I would have Ted as probably a slight Dynasty buy right now. But I'm not as convinced that Ted is that good, though, is the difference. All right, we're going to tap. Actually, I'm going to take a tight end here. I'm not going to take Gesicki because I've already got Chase. We are going to take Terrence Ferguson and then set ourselves up to take whatever wide receiver we want in the end. Proud to say I'm Scottish. We definitely need to merge with East Coast. Yes, I mean, Scotland has done themselves proud in this World Cup, I think. And they just about drank Boston dry. Spain getting pushed into draws with mid-tier units. I think it would be a special year for Dark. I mean, Spain's pretty good, man. Spain looked like different gravy yesterday. Argentina looked quite good. Brazil does seem terrible, though. I will say that Brazil does seem awful. So that's one. I mean, Belgium also awful. Belgium not even going to qualify. Probably don't have to be afraid of them. Then you know what? The Dutch have actually looked really good. That's probably one of the surprises for me is that that game against Sweden, the Dutch were just all over it. Somerville definitely gives them something a little bit different, very direct. Is Emmett Johnson the Kenneth Walker handcuff, or do you think DeMarcado or the ghost of Kareem Hunt renders Emmett useless? It definitely would. It's definitely not going to be a 1-to-1, Brad. I don't think there's any scenario where Kenneth Walker goes down and then you immediately see Emmett Johnson take over as the starting running back and just get the same workload. I think Rashard Smith will probably hang around and play in that circumstance. They probably would reach out to Kareem Hunt if Kenneth Walker got hurt. But based on what I can tell from the outside, and I can't pretend to have followed the Emmett Johnson situation as closely as the Worthy stuff and the Kelsey stuff and the Rashee Rice stuff and the Tyquan Thornton stuff, by the way. But the reporting does make it seem that Emmett Johnson probably has the best way, the best path to being the running back 2 for the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we've got Burrow and Stroud, Breece Hall, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Gainwell, Jonah Coleman, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Jaylen Waddle, Michael Pittman Jr., Romeo Doubs, Nathaniel Tank Dell, and Jerry Jeudy. Noel would give us another stack. Surratt, and Crane really likes Surratt. So maybe I should take some more of him. I wonder how often he's drafted. How often is Elijah Surratt drafted? 5.8% of the time, so above 50%, but still. What do I want to do? I'm kind of lost here. All right, you know what? Let's just take another Surratt team. Why not add in our rookie wide receiver? Belgium. Oh, actually, honestly, I didn't realize it was this easy for Belgium to get through. I mean, I wouldn't say they're locks to beat New Zealand. New Zealand do not look bad. I don't like Romeo Doubs, Mr. Baller 19, but sometimes you got to hold your nose and just draft guys. All right. We wrapped it up with A+ on advancement. I'm taking that. Didn't get a ton of ADP value, didn't get a ton of uniqueness. Final team: Burrow, Stroud, Breece, Montgomery, Ramondre, Ken Gainwell, Jonah Coleman, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Jaylen Waddle, Michael Pittman Jr., Romeo Doubs, Tank Dell, Jerry Jeudy, and Elijah Surratt. Hey, pretty nice team there. I don't hate that team. Not very fun. Is Doubs a great pick? I don't know if Romeo Doubs is a great pick. I don't think he's a terrible pick. I tell you what, I kind of just have a hard time with Doubs because it feels like what's happening is people are looking at the Patriots situation and they're saying, all right, well, you know, they have AJ Brown, but they're still, you know, they freed it up from Diggs. And I don't know if it's that simple. Because I'm looking at the way the Patriots passing game is going to break out, and I don't know how favorable it's going to end up being for him. Let's go pull up the old Mike Clay projections and just see what we've got going on here. So it does seem like Booty is still going to be on the team, right? So it doesn't seem like Booty is leaving. You still have Demario Douglas, who is pretty good, right? Doesn't play a lot, but is there. Then you have Mac Hollins, who is one of the better run blocking wide receivers in the league, right? You also have last year's 3rd round pick, Kyle Williams. Then you have the fact that the team is probably going to play a good bit of 12. You know, they draft Reardon on day 2 of the NFL draft, and they have a fullback and Reggie Gilliam. So I'm like, okay, how many snaps is this dude going to play? He's not going to be like a dominant target earner. I guess what you have to, I mean, maybe the calculus is Drake May really is just that good. I mean, plenty of teams pay guys $20 million a year to do cardio, and Doubs also doesn't have that big of a contract though. It's not 20 million. I don't think was it $20 million a year. Romeo Doubs signed a 4-year, $68 million contract. So $8 million cap hit this year, $18 million next year, and then yeah, he's gonna be cut after this season because they have a $7.5 million out in his deal, so he will probably be gone. I mean, Doubs, he's probably a good pick. I probably should ease off on my guy Romeo Doubs, and I guess this is the question too. It does seem like Booty is probably going to stick around. I mean, if Booty gets traded, if Booty gets traded, I'll feel better about taking Romeo Doubs, but unclear. Reardon feels camouflage in drafts, giving how much 12 they might run. I tell you what, I do draft some Eli Reardon. I will prove this that I'm not just talking, because I like the landing spot for Reardon. And people really liked him pre-draft. Like multiple sites really liked him pre-draft. Eli Raridon, 711 drafts. Got him in. I've taken him 6 times. $44 invested, including in including in a DK Millie Maker. All right, everyone. No, we're gonna get out of here because I've got a brand new video coming out over on the Matic Fantasy Football channel. It's all about 0 RB stuff. So I hope you guys check that out. If you want to check out any of the stuff I've been using on stream today, you can head on over to flockfantasy.com. A link to that is in the description and pinned down in the comments. You can use code Davis to get the annual Mother Flocker plus the best ball tools for $147 annually. But I'll be back with all you guys tomorrow, day after, rest of the week. Everyone, have a great day.